All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're jumping into this incredible story of fear, deception, and divine intervention, pulled straight from the pages of Genesis. And it really makes you think about some deep questions, like what do you do to survive? How do you keep your integrity when you feel like you have no power at all? Let's get into it.
So here's the question at the heart of it all. Really think about it. Put yourself in a situation where you have no power, no one's got your back, and you are convinced that your life is on the line. What do? This isn't just some thought experiment. For a man named Abraham, this was his terrifying reality. Okay, so here's the setup. Abraham has just picked up and moved. He's in a totally new place, surrounded by people he doesn't know, and trying to figure out the rules of a culture he just doesn't trust.
The place is called Gerar, and it's the land of the Philistines. And, as he's looking around, this feeling of dread starts to set in. He's the ultimate outsider, and in his mind, these people look dangerous. He is just completely exposed and terrified.
And this is where we get right inside Abraham's head. This is what he believes is going to happen. He's convinced these people are godless and that they would kill him in a heartbeat to take his wife, Sarah. And this isn't just some little worry. It's a gut-wrenching fear that's about to drive every single thing he does next.
So, completely paralyzed by this fear, Abraham doesn't lean on his faith, he comes up with a plan. He falls back on a strategy he's actually tried before, thinking a little bit of deception might be the only thing that saves him, and it's a plan that comes from a place of pure, raw desperation.
Okay, so what's the plan? It's simple, but man, is it risky. He's going to tell everyone that Sarah is his sister, not his wife. Now, his thinking is kind of twisted, but it goes like this. If they think she's his sister, they'll have to deal with him to marry her. They can't just kill him and take her. It's a very human solution to a problem that feels totally out of his hands.
And yeah, you could probably guess what happens next. The plan just blows up in his face. It turns out his fear wasn't just in his head, but his solution, well, it leads him right into the disaster he was trying to avoid. The stakes are about to get so much higher.
Turns out, Abraham was right to be scared. The king of the land, a guy named Abimelech, hears about Sarah, and he does exactly what Abraham was afraid of. And he just takes her, sends his guys, and brings her right into his palace. So Abraham's clever plan? Total failure. He's left silent, powerless, with nothing.
Now get this. To really understand how wild this is, you have to know that Sarah was almost 90. So the idea that she was still so beautiful that a king would want her, that's just astonishing. It's a huge part of what makes this story so dramatic.
So Sarah is in the palace. Abraham's plan is a complete wreck. It looks hopeless, right? But this is where the story takes a massive turn. We go from human mess-up to something else entirely. Because that night, King Abimelech has a dream. A really, really important dream. And the message in this dream? Wow, it is direct and absolutely terrifying. God basically tells him, you took another man's wife, and if you don't give her back, you are going to die, you and everyone you know. It doesn't get much clearer than that.
But here's the twist. Abimelech doesn't just roll over, he actually argues back. He's like, wait a second, are you going to wipe out an innocent nation? I did this with a clear conscience. They told me she was his sister. It's so ironic, right? The guy Abraham thought was a godless monster is now pleading his own case based on his integrity.
And God basically says, yeah, I know you didn't know, but the command is the same. And then drops this bombshell. Abraham is a prophet. This changes everything. Now for the king to live, he doesn't just have to return Sarah. He needs a prayer from the very man he just wronged. Justice has to happen for anyone to survive this.
So you better believe the next morning, a terrified Abimelech gets right to it. And this next part, it's not just about giving Sarah back. It's a masterclass in how you actually make things right after you've made a huge mistake.
First, Abimelech confronts Abraham, basically asking, "What have you done to me?" And Abraham finally comes clean. He explains why he was so scared, but then he reveals the trick behind the lie. Sarah actually is his half-sister. So, "she is my sister" was a deception for sure, but it was built on this little piece of truth. It just shows you how complicated this whole thing is.
Okay, and this is where you really see what it means to make amends. Abimelech doesn't just say sorry and hands Sarah back. No, he makes this huge public display. He gives Abraham oxen, sheep, servants, a ton of money, and basically says, hey, you can live anywhere you want here. This is way more than an apology. He's giving Abraham his honor back.
And let's talk about that money for a second. 1,000 pieces of silver. That's a fortune. It's a clear signal of just how serious this was to him and how committed he was to showing his integrity. This is not a token gesture. This is a royal level, I'm sorry.
So this whole process, you can really break it down into 4 steps. First, you have the direct confrontation, which forces an honest explanation. Then comes the generous reparation, the gifts, which restores honor. And only after all of that can you get to the final step, resolution. That's when Abraham can fulfill his role as a prophet, pray, and healing can actually happen. It's like a roadmap for how to truly fix a massive mistake.
So after all of that, the fear, the lie, the dream, the resolution, we're left with this really big question. It really pushes us to think about what faith even means when you're terrified. Do you go with your own plan, the one that comes from fear, or do you trust in something bigger, even when it makes absolutely no sense? That's a tough one, and it's really the core of what this whole trial is about.